from a fallout shelter somewhere under Seattle, Washington. It's the show you've been waiting for. Get ready to join your hosts, John and Kenric, as they talk comics, movies, and more. Now here's Spoiler Country!
Alright, welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric, and that is Mr. Horsley. And of course, today on the show, it's an old hack. No, I shouldn't say hack. That's terrible. That's not what I mean.
He's not a hack.
He's not a hack. But he's been on our show a few times now.
A few times, absolutely, yeah. And it's I love having him on. If for nothing more than the accent.
Yeah, and we're talking about, of course, Tim Stiles from the famed Gorilla My Dreams.
This is true. Gorilla My Dreams. He's out of Australia. He does a great comic called Gorilla My Dreams. He also did, I think it was called Always Punch Nazis comic recently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I messed up. It was called Cool Kids Punch Nazis, not Always Punch Nazis. Sorry, Tim. Yeah, and it's great. You know, I love talking with Tim. I talk to him quite often. He actually it's funny because Tim actually messaged me last week sometime about San Diego Comic-Con, asking if I was going there because him and his kids play this. So first off, Tim is a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, right?
TMNT.
Yeah, I have a problem saying those words, even though I love the show. I don't know why, but
you have a problem saying Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
without stumbling over them.
You can't say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Stop rubbing it in.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay,
you're a dick.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So he has a podcast called the Turtle Boy Podcast.
Cool.
And his one called Turtle Boy Jr. with his kids, talking about turtles and all this fun stuff. And so there's this role playing game called Zombicide that they play. And at Comic-Con they're releasing this TMNT special pack, right?
You mean a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle special pack?
Yeah, fuck you. But he was like, he messaged me. He's like, hey, if you have a chance, if you see him, can you pick me up a pair and he'll pay me and I'll ship it to him in Australia. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And then I looked him up. You know, they're only $25 at the show, which if I can get them, I'll happily buy them when I mail it to him. You know, whatever.
Right.
But there's people already fucking selling them on eBay for $100 to $150 a piece as pre-orders.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
Like people are just going to go right to him and get them and put them and sell them off right away.
Oh no.
That's shit ridiculous. Pisses me off. That pisses me off.
Well, I mean, it's supply and demand. I get it. It's capitalism at its finest, but it is at the same time. It's I don't know. Getting the special editions is supposed to be something fun for the people going to the show. You know,
right.
To collect, and I don't know, but it's hopefully you'll be able to get one for him because that would be cool.
I hope so. I hope I can get one for him, but
Casey.
Yeah.
interviewed him. He has a Kickstarter coming out for Gorilla My Dreams, correct?
He does. It's out. It's active now as you're hearing this.
Awesome.
And it's for the next book in the series. And if you haven't read the first one, just Google search Gorilla My Dreams, like gorilla, like gorilla, not girl of, but gorilla, because I made that mistake twice. And just look for it. It's a webcomic. Read the first chapter. You'll be hooked. It's a great series. I'm a big fan of it.
There you go. Let's check out Casey Allen and Tim Stiles.
All right, everybody, welcome again to another episode of Spoiler Country. My name is Casey Allen, and today I'm talking to Big Tim Stiles. He is out of Australia, and he is talking about his new book, Gorilla My Dreams, Gorilla Tales. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Hey, and thanks for coming on. So, you have a new Kickstarter out, right?
Yes, we've just launched my latest Kickstarter, Gorilla My Dreams, Gorilla Tales, which is a 22-page black and white comic book about a gorilla who fancies himself a superhero. He doesn't have any powers. He can only talk. But yeah, he thinks he's a superhero and likes to thwart crime.
That's awesome. So this is just one of several of those books in a series, correct?
This is actually the second one. The first one we launched a couple of years ago, and to be completely honest, it was only ever meant to be a one-shot, but everyone loved it so much, so we expanded the universe, and we've come back with this second issue, which is a collection of short stories about a lot of the other people who live in Struggle Town that come across Knockaround Guy, who is our hero, that cross paths with him, on his adventures and whatnot.
And I'm looking right now at the art. I'm loving this illustration in here. Who was your art team?
Yeah, my basically Gorilla My Dreams was created by both me and my artist Ahmed Rafet. He's an Egyptian artist who's working out of London, and I stumbled across him online, and basically I feel like I'm the luckiest man in the world to be working with him. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's totally solid stuff, and the concept for this book looks hysterical. So, where did this come from?
That's a really good question. The origin of the character, it came from a couple of places. I don't know if you remember the online video game City of Heroes.
Yes,
Are you
yes.
familiar with that one? Yeah. Well, I used to just play basically as this this gorilla brick house fighting crime as knockaround guy, and basically when those servers closed down and the game basically stopped, I just started writing stories about him, and I wasn't sure that they would ever become anything. And then I met Ahmed, and I got him to do some designs, and we sort of went from there, and published the first one, Gorilla My Dreams, Mime of My Life, where he's investigating the murder of a street mime who suffocated inside an actual invisible box. And at the end of that comic, it was only ever supposed to be, as I said, a one shot. But then I was talking to Ahmed, and I said, "What do we do next?" And he says, how about we do a Sin City style thing where Knockaround Guy is in the background, but we learn a lot more about the city and about the people in the city. So we came up with this 5 short stories, and that's where we're at.
So, just given that this was initially supposed to be a one shot, and now you're dipping your toe in the waters a little bit more of this book, I'm looking at your Kickstarter right now. You've exceeded your goal already, meaning that you guys are now going to be going into stretch goal territory. And then after this book is done, it seems pretty obvious that people want more of this Gorilla My Dreams book. So are you guys planning on continuing these stories?
And we're going to keep churning them out as long as people want them. Right now, I've got a plan for including these 2 issues. There's going to be about a 7-issue run, which I'm just in my personal notes, I'm calling book 1. I've laid out the plans for a book 2, which will be 5 to 7 issues, and then there's ideas for beyond that. So it's as long as people are enjoying it, as long as people want it, we're going to still be bringing it out. But the beauty of these books, though, is that I'm trying to keep them in a sort of a one-shot format. So you can pick up one issue and you should have a satisfying and self-contained sort of experience with every issue. And that's the way I've planned out these next 5 issues that are coming as well. So you don't have to sort of be along for the long run. You can just pick up one issue, read it. Hey, that was a decent story. If you want more, you can get another one. There will be a sort of an overarching theme and story to it, but each issue should be self-contained enough that if you just want one, grab it. You want more, come back and get more.
That's awesome, and I think that's something that's missing in comics today, specifically in that it's hard to start on a series without getting dragged down by the weight of it. I can't imagine being a kid now and getting into some of the big 2 comics.
Exactly, man. I feel the same, and that's sort of why I've gone this way. I know I've always looked at books and thought, I should, I really like the looks of that. I should give it a go, but it's issue 280, and I'm like, God, where do I start, sort of thing. So just trying to make this as accessible as possible so that you don't have those problems.
That's awesome, and so just going into you as a writer. What other stuff have you done? Is this your first foray into the comics with your Gorilla My Dream stories?
I've, as far as writing is concerned, I used to review comic books for a website called giantfirebreathingrobot.com, and but that since then that website has folded. But I directed comics directed. I reviewed comics for 4 years over there, and like we've got a lot of independent stuff to read and review. And I just went from there after really analyzing so many other writers and artists' work. I decided to dive in with my first comic, which was Cthulhu Williams. And that was a very sort of Hellboy-inspired monster hunter book about the son of the illegitimate son of Cthulhu, who now has an immunity to monsters, and so he's a paranormal investigator / monster hunter. So that was my first one, and then basically from there, I just got a couple of really small, work for hire gigs, just with some other independent comic book publishers here in Australia. My first actual published work was with a comic called Killaroo, which is an Australian comic book about a mutant kangaroo who's in a biker gang, and it's a great book, man. If you can track some down, it sounds so amazing fun. And so that was my first sort of paid gig, was doing a short story for one of those comics. And then I did a short story for a trade paperback called Circus, which was another local one here. And from there, it's just, I wrote this Gorilla My Dreams, as I said, for a one shot, but everyone loves it. And I've actually fallen so much in love with the character and the world. And as I've been expanding it and planning new issues, I just keep falling deeper and deeper in love with it.
That's amazing. That's it's really inspiring hearing just how amazingly you've fallen into this, into the groove of this character and learning how to write this character, and just seeing how you've stuck with it. This is something that you got into from playing a video game and you just liked it that much. That is pretty awesome.
And that's the thing, is like I've spoken to people who also played City of Heroes online and whatnot, and the servers were cut down. They were shut down so quickly that none of us really knew what happened. And it's kind of weird when you're playing these video games where it's a whole new reality and a whole new world that you're interacting with online. And there was this, as far as men are concerned, right, a lot of us didn't know how to handle, the grieving process of this world that we'd set up that was just sort of taken away from us, And I think, look, I was one of the lucky ones who immediately just started writing about my characters. But there's actually this, I guess the word's phenomenon, where a lot of men, because, for the most part, a lot of us aren't in touch with our, emotions and this sort of thing. When this game was just whipped out from under us, that we had spent, hundreds, thousands of hours building on this game, we just didn't know how to cope with it, and a lot of people went into depression from it, and didn't know how to take these characters and take this life that they were living online and make it into something else. I don't know if that sounds crazy or not, but it's actually. I spoke to a guy who's studied. He was calling it. I think it was called digital psychology, where it exactly talking about this sort of stuff, where the internet is so real to so many of us that. A lot of us go into depression and other mental places when we can't quite comprehend what's happening when something major like that happens.
I think sometimes the problem can be twofold, in that you are expanding your reach online and learning how to be social online, while also simultaneously limiting your scope in real time, and not being as keyed in to what's happening in waking life. So you're both growing and kind of receding in another area of your life. And when the area that you're growing in is taken away from you, I can see where the hazard comes in. That sounds like an interesting thing to happen. I've never really been a gamer. I am awful at them. And
Yeah.
back when games were, video games were actually starting to be good, was when all I wanted to do was play guitar. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I feel like I've missed that boat, and now I'm so far behind. I tried to play at a friend's house a few months back, and I was just it was awful.
Yeah, and look, and I mean, it definitely does come down to, you do need to have this balance between the real world and the internet world, and that's the thing. Once these servers shut down for this game, I realized how much time I was spending, on these games. You'd be at work for 8 hours, you'd come home from work, and you'd spend 8 or 10 hours playing this game, and you'd sleep, and then you'd do it all again, and I think I was one of the lucky ones who sort of just the penny dropped that it's like, now you've got this time, you can actually create something, and you can interact with the real world instead, sort of thing.
That seems like the most healthy way to handle that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And shit, you've gotten 2 books out of it already.
Yeah, definitely, man.
That is rad. So, do you have any ideas of things you're wanting to do after Gorilla My Dreams is done? Is there an endpoint, or are you just going to keep going?
Yeah, look, I've got, as I said, I've got planned out book 1, which is like the first 7 issues or so, and I think each of these quote unquote books are a point where it can end if it needs to, but it can still go on as well. Another thing I am working on right now with a friend of mine who runs a local comic book shop is a comic book character called Croc Cop, so a mutant crocodile police officer, and that's I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that's something that we're throwing ideas around. That look, it may work running alongside Gorilla My Dreams, or maybe when Gorilla My Dreams is done, that could be where I go. But yeah.
If there aren't any drop bears in that, I'm going to riot.
I'll get them in there. I'll get them in there because it's very different to this. Okay, this one's very superhero noir, detective type stories.
It comes out in the art. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Like when I ran into Ahmed and he started sending me art samples, I was like, yeah, this is beautiful. We're definitely on the right track here. And we debated making it colored or black and white, but I thought, no, even though it's this weird world with killer clowns and giant Nazi turtles and all this crazy stuff, it is at the heart a very detective noir story, and making it, instead of making it color, just going with the black and white like those old 1920s 1930s detective films, it really does bring that feel out in the artwork. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you were talking about the art a minute ago too. The covers are fantastic. Yep. I love them. It's total throwback to the old school like EC horror comics covers, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's definitely, and this is why, like, Ahmed isn't just like an artist for hire on this book. He brings so much to it. I said, for the main cover, I said, listen, for the main cover, I want it to look like some of those old Dark Horse Presents comics where you've got your main image and your backup characters down the side. And he came up with that one with the pink tinge. If people are looking at the website, the one with the pink. And then he came to me later and he said, look, I want to do a tribute cover from an old Batman comic. He said, we've got this bad guy who's this clown, and we've got this superhero, and let's do something. And so we went looking through some back issues at covers and things, and we settled on the cover you can see there with the green title. Is basically Detective Comics 69, where the original image was Joker coming out of the little Aladdin's lamp thing, and it was Batman and Robin standing there. And so I just said to him, look, have at it, man. Look, let's just have fun with it, So he basically came up with both of those covers off his own back.
That's awesome. And that's it's an old Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson color. So that kind of gives people an idea of the style that this is going for. And I'm looking at the inspiration behind it, and it's you guys nailed it. That's awesome.
The guy is so good, man. It's only that's why I'm smashing out as many of these as I can, because he's gonna get snatched up by someone much bigger than just a sole independent guy sitting here writing funny books about gorillas. I don't doubt at all that he's going to be snatched up by some of the bigger companies before long, once they see his body of work and just see his style.
That's awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about comics in Australia? It's not something I've never really thought about. What type of stuff is going strong there? You guys, I'm sure Big Two stuff is down there, but what got you into comics?
Yeah. Look, I actually, when I was 13 years old, I was staying at my grandma's place down the coast, and my brother and I went up to the corner shops, with our pocket money, and we're just looking in the corner shops, and we saw these comic book racks, and we had some money to blow, so we just grabbed a couple comics each, and little did I realize that was going to be the beginning of a lifelong addiction. I remember I grabbed Captain America number 365 and Silver Surfer number 36. And I just remember going back to my grandma's place and just reading these comics and just going, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. So, I mean, for the most part, it's the Marvel and the DCs are really, the big players are over here. Next up, you've got, I would imagine it's very much like the States, then you've got Image, you've got your Dark Horse, you've got your IDW and that sort of stuff. But then there is just a very, very small, group of Australians who sort of put together their own comics and just sell sort of independently and through the stores here in the States. As I said, my friend Darren Close, he's been going hard for, I think a decade doing these Killaroo comic books. And to me, I think that's probably one of the biggest Australian independent ones because it is so just iconic Australian, the mutant kangaroo. How can you go wrong with that, But yes, there's a whole bunch of just independent self-publishing comic book creators down here who basically do it for love. There's not a great deal of money in it as far as being really low-end independent artists and creators. But having said that, there's a great deal of stuff that's and good quality stuff that Australian creators are working on and making.
It's awesome. And I'm guessing you're able to see who's funding the Gorilla My Dreams comics. And has it been a lot of people locally? Has it also been a lot of international people? And how do you deal with that?
Look, for the most part, I think my biggest audience, as far as the Kickstarters are concerned, are probably the United States. And I'm not sure how it's sort of, I've only got really, I guess, Facebook and social media to sort of thank for that. But I don't know how, word about it has gotten so far out there. That's where I seem to be sending most of them, But apart from that, so it would be the States, then Australia, and then we've got the UK. Definitely because that's where Ahmed's living, where Ahmed's from, so he's got people there interested as well. But I'm sending books out everywhere. I think the only places I haven't sent books is to sort of the Asian area, because I've sent things to European countries. I've sent things to Canada, to almost anywhere you can think, except I don't think I've actually sent any out to the Asian corner of the world yet.
It's like a hard market to break into.
Yeah, I would imagine, but yeah.
That's amazing though. It's great. Internet's wild, man. Internet
Yeah,
is
well,
wild.
that's the thing, man. It's like I never would have met Ahmed without the internet, and I definitely wouldn't be making this book if I hadn't run into Ahmed.
That's actually how I got into helping out with Spoiler Country. Is I met John and Kenric via Instagram. So
Yeah, nice.
I run a group called the Comic Jam, and I was on their Instagram, and I came across this show and said, I like what you guys are doing. And then after that, just kind of became fast friends. So
Nice.
yeah, it's crazy, man. But is there anything you'd like to talk about before we start shutting things down?
Look, I guess just that, as you said, we've met our funding, but we have so much more we want to give. We're inching towards our first stretch goal. And every stretch goal in this campaign is actually going to be extra pages of content for the book. So
Nice.
At a bare minimum, the book's 22 pages. This first stretch goal we're getting to is going to be an additional 5-page story, drawn by my friend I mentioned earlier, Darren Close from the Killaroo comics. So that's going to be another 5 pages. Stretch goal after that is going to be, a pin-up page, and then another 5-page story, and then some more pin-up pages. So yeah, the more stretch goals we break, the bigger this comic book's going to get, and it's just like, who knows how big it's going to be by the end of things,
That's awesome. And I mean, it looks like you're heading into extra stretch goal territory already, and I can't wait to see where this ends up, because this looks like a hell of a fun book, man.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun. I hope people enjoy it. People seem to have loved what we've done so far, and we just want to get more out there. And yeah, and don't forget to check out Killaroo if you can get your hands on it somewhere. I think there's one issue. I think there's one issue of it on Comixology, so you can check that out to get a taste of what Killaroo is all about, sort of thing. But yeah, all the readers out there, first go and look at my Kickstarter, and then go find Killaroo and get that off Comixology, and yeah, enjoy.
Is there a way to find the original Gorilla My Dreams book?
Now, okay, actually, that's actually a really good point. It's actually, if you scroll down on the Kickstarter page, underneath the page previews, there's a link that says "Read more of Gorilla My Dreams" webcomic here.
Nice.
And if you click on that, that's basically because that's something I didn't mention. We've been releasing it as a webcomic, just 1 page a fortnight sort of thing. And so we've got the core 2 issues up online free for people to read. And yeah, so this is just basically collecting those stories. And then, as I said, all the stretch goals is the bonus stuff that you won't get on the webcomic.
Awesome. Well, Tim, this looks like an amazing book. I can't wait to get my mitts on it. You guys need to go out there and find Gorilla My Dreams, Gorilla Tales. It's by Big Tim Stiles on Kickstarter. And get this thing made. Get it in your hands. It looks like a really fun ride. And honestly, I'm looking at this, and I want to see more Gorilla My Dreams stuff. This is amazing. I want to see a fucking cartoon, dude. This is rad. So,
look,
sorry.
between me and you, look, this could amount to nothing. It could never become anything. But I have been sending samples out to a couple, producers and whatnot, to see, because I had a producer come and say, look, hey, that would make a really cool sort of adult animated movie. And I said, oh yeah, and I just sort of didn't think anything of it. And then my friend was at one of the big comic conventions here in Australia, and he went to this panel where there was a TV producer there, and it was a guy I'd never met, and he said he was talking about changing comic books to TV series, and he said, oh, one comic book I'd really like to have a go at is this comic book called Gorilla My Dreams by Big Tim Stiles. And my friend was just like, what? He sent me a message. Do you know who this is? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, So, I mean, as far as Australia's concerned, it seems to be falling into the right hands, and I'm trying to seize the opportunities, but I don't want to build up anyone's expectations more than my own. So who knows, man? Who knows what's going to happen?
So if you guys want to see that cartoon eventually, maybe possibly, buy this book. And also, I'm looking at the other things you can get on the on the different Kickstarter levels, and that T-shirt looks really pretty awesome.
Yeah, that T-shirt, the artwork's by a gent called Nathan Kelly, and he's actually out of the States there. He's an independent creator out of the States there who he's a book, Drexler, which is a horror comic book. And so I commissioned him to do that artwork. If you scroll right down to the bottom of the page, that's the original artwork. That's actually also the back cover of the comic. And so, we're using that for the T-shirt as well. And it does look good. I actually pre-ordered one of the T-shirts to make sure it would look nice. And, man, I'm wearing it around all over the place. It's a great shirt.
That's goals right there, man. One day I hope to be able to wear my own shirt. That is pretty rad. Well, Tim, thanks again for coming on. You guys find Gorilla My Dreams on Kickstarter. Let's get this thing done. And man, you still got 26 days to go. I can't wait to see where this ends up, because
man.
The trajectory of this is looking really good.
We got so much more content we want to put in this book, so get on there. You got 26 days to take us to the moon.
Awesome. Tim, have a good one, buddy. Have a good evening.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me, mate.
No worries, man.
Well, there's Tim being Tim.
Tim being Tim, and Casey being Casey.
It's the TC Show, starring Tim Stiles and Casey Allen.
It's the Tim and Casey Show. Oh, man.
Well, there you guys go. Hopefully, you like what you heard, and you want to go and check out Tim's Kickstarter. Do a double search for Gorilla My Dreams. Of course, we'll have it in the show notes. If you can't afford it, but you want to support it, share it out on your social media. That does help.
That's right. And there's a possibility that one of the rewards in that Kickstarter will be a pinup that I drew for him a while ago. So maybe not. I don't know. He told me it might be in there, so I'm not sure. But hopefully,
so if you want shitty art,
not by Tim and his artist, but by me, just let him know.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's so funny. Well, there you guys go. We hope you enjoyed that.
I hope you did. So, where are we on social media?
Well, of course, we're Spoiler Country. We're heard all over the place where podcasts are heard, and we're basically on all the social medias that I know of. And if we're not on your social media, just let us know.
Yeah, we're not on TikTok. We've talked about this before. I have a TikTok account, but I don't quite understand it, and it makes me feel old. Yeah,
I have a TikTok account myself, but I just watch the videos because some of them make me laugh quite a bit. There's actually one that I watch the most. It's a Turkish chef.
Yeah.
And he constantly smiles at the camera while he's doing these insane like choppy chop things, and it's awesome. And his food looks amazing, and I'll watch that over and over and over again.
There's this one. I don't know where they're from, but it's basically this couple of Asian girls, and they do like this no look trick shot stuff where they'll be doing normal stuff.
I've seen that too. Where they just throw stuff, and it's like, I always wonder though, is that real?
Right. But it's super cool.
It's like crazy stuff sometimes.
Or like how many takes did that take?
Yeah, how many takes did that take, or did they just fix it in post?
Yeah. But anyways, wherever else, we have a phone number you can call in the voicemail, 707-656-2080, 707-656-2080 if you want to call, leave us voicemail, email us at
leave a voicemail and just say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, just show me how you can say that phrase and I can't, and make fun of me. It's fine. I'm totally cool with it. I'm aware of my own mishaps here, and I accept them and move on.
There you go.
Unlike some people. But
that's right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right. Check out our website, scpod.net. Read great reviews by David, articles by Jay, stuff by us, all of our podcasts, and more.
and more. There you guys go. Don't forget, open the mind.
Read more. Get dick.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Turtle power.